the universities and well-run nonprofits, and that is another outstanding achievement that occurred under Nydia Velazquez's leadership. So I can say this, our organization has done a great deal to fight for the issues that are so important to the Latino community, and that is to build our own leaders, to bring young Latinos and Latinas to Washington and be able to get that experience and see how Congress works. Let them see that there is a lot of opportunity here in Washington, D.C., and they come from West Coast to East Coast, they come from Puerto Rico and the other territories, and they are getting a tremendous experience, not only working for members of Congress and senators and Fortune 500 companies, but let me say, none of that could have grown as fast as it did these last 2 years without Nydia Velazquez, and that's why we are here to honor her. Thank you very much.
Please, everyone, take your seats and join me in welcoming the Honorable Nydia Velazquez to the Latino Leaders Luncheon Series. We are delighted to be joined today by former New York Secretary of State, Lorraine Cortez Vasquez, the first Hispanic ever to serve as Secretary of State. Lorraine recently moved to Washington to accept a new position at AARP, Executive Vice President for Multicultural Markets and Engagement. A former president of the Hispanic Federation and executive of Inspira, we are delighted to have her in Washington. Please welcome Lorraine Cortez, who will now introduce our keynote speaker. Lorraine? Thank you.
Well, that's great. Nydia said she was going to be here at this time, and she got here. That's what happens with a busy woman. We're so delighted to be here. There could be no greater thing that can happen at this Latino Leaders Luncheon than to honor Nydia Velazquez, Congresswoman Nydia Velazquez. You've honored many, many people, but what she has done in her short time in D.C. has been incredible, not only for the New York and the Puerto Rican community in New York, but also for all Latinos and all citizens of this country. So you were very, very smart to honor her. Please, again, join me in welcoming Congresswoman Nydia Velazquez for being here with us. I got to say nice things about you first. First of all, there's a lot of bios, and you'll hear some traditional and formal bios about Nydia Velazquez, but I want to tell you some things that are really important about her. First of all, ella nació en el pueblo de Limones de Yabucoa. She's a proud member of that. Her father was a sugarcane worker, a local political activist, and a role model who later became the first who later was a role model for her, and that is why she is the first Puerto Rican woman to be elected to Congress. And I tell you that because from those humble beginnings, she learned a lot from that really dynamic sugarcane worker. She would accompany her dad to these political rallies where he would focus on the rights of sugarcane workers and denounce the abuse perpetrated by some of the farm owners. Nydia adored her dad, and he fired her up so much that she would gather all of her cousins and her siblings and everybody, and there were a lot of them in her family. She'll tell you later on how much they were. There were 9 of them. And she would gather them all under a tree in esta plataforma, and then she would then get on the tarima, what we would say like a podium like this, and she would prepare some political discussions. Everything she heard from her dad. So from a very early age, she was front and center, never being shy, and leading her cousins and her siblings when they allowed her to lead them. The thing that was really important was that she came from very humble beginnings. But that never, and she's very, very humble and humilde, but that never made her shy. She never moved away or shirked away from major responsibilities and challenges. Many of her first, Nydia, for those of you who don't know, graduated college early. By the age of 22, she was a professor. How many of you in this room can say that? That young woman was a professor by the age of 22. So she had already distinguished herself academically and professionally by the age of 22. And then she comes to New York. Esta muchacha de Jabucoa comes to New York and takes New York by storm. She launched one of the largest, most successful voter education and voter registration drives in New York, on the mainland and in Puerto Rico. But on the mainland, it was called Atrévete. She wouldn't name it anything else but Atrévete, given who she is. The important thing about that was that system shocked and poked what people call the sleeping giant. Nydia could not rest when she saw all of those people in New York and said, esto es un poder, y el poder en este país es el voto. I need to just poke and wake that up. And so Nydia went. So of course, because she was so successful, she got a little pushback, and she had a few challenges. That's never stopped her before. As a matter of fact, it empowered her, and she decided to run for Congress. I remember that race. I remember that race very vividly. There were a lot of opponents in that race. There were a lot of people who were the sure front-runner winners. I don't know, they're not sitting at the table, Nydia. And she had some powerful opponents. Pero because of her tenacity, because of her conviction, because of her connection to our people, she's sitting at that table today, and we are honoring her as a Congresswoman who took CHCI to its highest level. That's who Nydia Velazquez is. So she challenges me every day with that little slogan, Atrévete. She challenges all of us. She doesn't shy away from some tough issues. As a Puerto Rican, she's been in the forefront of making sure that immigration reform does not die. And no reason to. She was born an American citizen, but that is her commitment to this community, because she knows that in unity there is strength. She is a leader. She is a role model. And more than anything, she's a great, great dancer and a fabulous cook. And there, my friend, is our leader and your honoree today, Nydia Velazquez.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you, Lorraine, for that kind introduction. I hate these kind of things. I really do. You know, this is my job, and this is what I love to do. It is my community. It is the people that I represent. It's all those beautiful children and their faces that give meaning to the work I do in Washington. So to all of you, thank you for the privilege, the opportunity that you have given me in serving my community at large, the Latino community in this country, for the last 2 years. And it has been a great run. I really enjoy it. You didn't see any articles in the papers, roll call, political, the Hill, about bochinches. We cut that off from the very same day, and I said, you know, we know that we have a White House that will be working with us. We know that we have the majority in both houses, and we do know that we are facing the worst economic crisis since the 1930s. So we don't have much time for bochinches or gossip or personalities here. We have a lot of challenges. High foreclosure, the housing crisis, the unemployment rate that is hitting us so hard, like any other community. So, like all great things in life, everything we've done in the last 2 years has been a collaborative effort. And I owe thanks to our task force chairs of the CAC, Ruben Hinojosa, Charlie Gonzalez, and all the great men and women that serve in the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, to the CACI board. Thank you so much for all the hard work during the last 2 years and the great accomplishments that we were able to get done. And to all of you, from Janet Murguia to Lorraine to Rosana Rosado, to so many that I called when I was down or whenever I had good news, and you were there listening, ready to give advice or joining forces. So let me just take this moment to say that, if anything, I honor my father and my mother, because, believe me, growing up in rural Barrio Limones de Yabucoa, when things were really tough, 9 children, but my father and mother never walked away. Even in the most difficult moments, when sometimes we cried because we were hungry at night, and my mother said, "Don't worry." I said, "Mommy, I want soda." And she would go and make sugar and water and gave it to us with some lemon. So they were relentless, and they understood their commitment to give to us a better life, a better future. And they instilled in me the value of education. And that taught me that if anything, once I'm gone, and we are all, I don't know, go to something else and do something else in life, that commitment, that is the best legacy that we can leave to our young generations. And so and Lorraine mentioned it, from a young age, I saw how political action can benefit people's lives. Some of my earliest moments and memories involve talking politics at the dinner table, going to political rallies with my father, or listening to him giving a speech in a flatbed truck. But you know what? It was in New York when I came at the age of 19 to work on my master's degree at New York University. And I was able to come to New York because the government of Puerto Rico gave me a full scholarship. So I do know that there is a role for government to play to help those most vulnerable. And I will always, always fight for that. So, I came to DC. I wasn't supposed to be here. I was supposed to be a number, school dropout or something else, but I wasn't. And since I came to Washington, I decided, I don't know why, but I guess because I saw my father struggling to understand rules and regulations when he opened up his little brick, una fábrica de cemento, de bloques. And he couldn't understand, and I was there, a sixth grader, trying to interpret for him from the Spanish language, in Spanish, regulations that at an early age, what the heck I was reading, I didn't understand. But it was difficult for my father. So when I came here, I knew that the most important thing to be able to provide for my community was jobs. And still today, that is our biggest challenge. We know that. So I decided that I wanted to serve in the Small Business Committee. And then I say, and where is the money? Financial services, I'm going to go. I'm going to ask for financial services. And I am proud of the work that I've done as chair of the Small Business Committee, especially making sure that the tools are there to help Latinos and minorities expand economic opportunities. And if there is any accomplishment, at least I can tell you that every time an agency cabinet hires a contracting officer, they call me up and let me know that they did, because they know that I'm watching to see if they are accomplishing their contracting goals for small businesses and minority businesses. Look, guys, I have flown on Air Force One with multiple presidents and taught a Secretary of State how to dance tango. And now I have had the privilege of chairing the Congressional Hispanic Caucus and the CACI. Not bad for a kid from Los Barrios de Yabucoa. So I know something about starting with little and using education to find your way in life, which is why it has been such important to me and a privilege to lead the CACI, the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute, which helps young people pursue their dreams. As the Hispanic community's role in the U.S. grows, CAC and CACI will continue working to ensure that Latinos claim their place in the American narrative. By 2030, there will be 75 million Hispanic Americans. That is 25% of the population. Hispanic entrepreneurship is growing 3 times faster than any other groups. And Latinos' buying power is approaching almost $1 trillion. My friend, if that is not power, what is? So we are becoming an ever more politically robust force. Turnout among Hispanics reached record levels in 2008. This year, during an otherwise very bad election for Democrats, Hispanic voters made the difference in returning Leader Reid and Senator Buxer and Bennett to Congress and retaining the Senate. And walking into 2012, my friends, and I hope that Senator Reid is listening and all those potential presidential candidates, you just can't win without at least getting 40% or 45% of Latino voters in this country. When Sonia Sotomayor became the first Latina Supreme Court justice, young Latinas and Latinos were immediately provided a new source of inspiration. If we are to capitalize on these trends, there must be additional opportunities for the next generation of Latino leaders. CACI's mission is to make sure that these young people can achieve their goals. In the last 2 years, we have been changing the face of the federal government here in Washington. We have been changing the makeup of the committees in the Senate, in the House. And we have been changing the workforce face throughout Washington. So we doubled the students that we are serving to 1,500 students. We doubled the number of congressional interns and doubled the number of ready-to-lead high school students. The CACI has awarded 150 scholarships in 2010, the most ever. And you haven't, well, I'm not gonna say this, but everything you read about our internship program and fellowship program is good. Nothing bad has been written about these programs in the press. So we are very proud of that. So it is CHC's job to ensure Latino voices are heard on policy matters, and today we are making our presence felt on every issue, big and small. I'm proud to say that there are a historic number of Latino appointments in the new administration, and this wasn't done because of the work of CHC. This was done in collaboration with the community-based organization and Latino leaders that are here today. We fought with all of you to ensure everyone is counted in the census. The CHC worked to boost the size of Pell Grants. The caucus helped pass healthcare reform legislation, including $2.55 billion for minority serving institutions and $1 billion for Hispanic serving institutions, and we changed the face of the U.S. Supreme Court forever. My friends, the political math may have changed in Washington, but one thing will remain constant: our commitment to justice. And we will not rest in fighting to make sure that we do what the American public is telling us to do. They are ahead of policymakers in Washington and political pundits. They want to reform the broken system that we call immigration, and we have to do it. Today, this morning, I had a meeting with Speaker Pelosi, and now I'm walking out to go and meet with President Barack Obama. And hopefully, in the week of November 29th, we will be taking a vote on the House of Representatives for the first time on the DREAM Act. So, and this is not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. We want a standalone bill without ag jobs or H-1 visa, because we cannot lose our leverage to bring about comprehensive immigration reform. If we attach any of those elements into this DREAM Act, 10 million undocumented will continue to live in the shadows for years to come. So I am not telling you that this is going to happen, that we are 100% there. I'm coming to you to say we need each one of you to be here next week or the following week before we come back in session, because next week we're not going to be here. We have to be sending emails and faxing letters and telephone calls and visiting your members, especially those moderate Democrats. We gotta tell them that if Costa in California wins, he's going to win because of the Latino vote. And so, moderate Democrats, they owed us. And in many instances, we were the deciding factor in their reelection. And they need to learn that lesson. And we will no vamos para atrás ni para coger impulso. Eso me lo decía mi padre a mí siempre. So, no vamos para atrás ni para coger impulso. But we need all of you, all of you. This is a matter of 2 weeks. It's a matter of 2 weeks. The window of opportunity is very small. And so, we don't have the high-priced lobbyists, but we have you, the community, and those dreamers. They have us. They are relying on us. So leave everything you have to do in the next 2 weeks and get yourself out there and make phone calls and visit those members and remind them that we will not forget who was there for us. Que Dios los bendiga. Gracias.
That was terrific. We have been joined also by the Honorable Charlie Gonzalez of San Antonio, and I'd like to invite you, Congressman, and also Congressman Hinojosa to join me on stage for the presentation of our award to Nydia Velazquez.